Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be ranking the Rainbow Roads for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and World from worst to best. Now, Rainbow Road is probably one of my favourite tracks in the Mario Kart series as a whole because I think it's one of those tracks that does really test your skill quite a bit, and whether that's going around the corners, trying to not fall off the edge, that sort of thing, and using all of the items that you have um, at your disposal. And yeah, I think the ones from all the Rainbow Road tracks from Mario Kart 8 and as well as Deluxe and World are really fun to drive around in. And this video is me just going to be talking about or ranking them from worst to best, in my opinion, in terms of how fun they are to drive around on, and mainly stuff like that. So yeah, as well as design as well. So for number six, being the worst, is the original Rainbow Road. Now, as a design concept, it's the most basic out of any of the Rainbow Roads we've seen in the Mario Kart series. But there is still a bit of charm to it because it is the first Rainbow Road, and yeah, and when you compare it to the other ones, especially the one in World, it's not designed as good as the one in Mario Kart World, but it still has a bit of charm to it. It's a bit small when compared to the other ones, but I think it still has some really cool moments, like because you've got the thwomps that just crash down on you if you're not careful, or if you don't time your moment right, or something like that. If you got like an item like the dash mushroom or something like that, and I do like how you can do some shortcuts on it. Like there's a bit towards the end, or around the middle to the end, is that there are two thwomps that you can either go on one side, or if you've got a dash mushroom, you can take the middle ramp part, which you can just take you over to the other side, which is quite cool. And I think it's really cool when it comes to shortcuts and stuff like that. But when compared to the other Rainbow Roads, it's not as impressive, but it still has some charm. For number five it's Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 7. Now with this Rainbow Road, I think it is enjoyable. I think what makes this Rainbow Road really cool is that it has parts of the track that makes you go around or go on some planets, which I think is quite cool. And I think it's one of the few Rainbow Roads that has the big, huge one lap thing, in the sense that you go from the start to the end, and there will be some parts where it'll be like you're on lap one, then you go on to lap two, then you go on to lap three, all whilst it's just one big lap. It's one of those ones, kind of similar to the Mario 64 Rainbow Road one and some other ones in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe. And yeah, I think this is quite cool. I do like the bit in I think towards the end we're going through like this big tunnel thing, and you can either ride the tunnel itself or glide through it, which is quite cool. And then you've also got the planet stuff as well. The actual Rainbow Road is quite cool. Like it kind of looks like this sort of like holographic type of thing, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I think it's quite cool. I do like the planets and stuff like that, but it's not. I think I don't know because I don't know because like it might be a bit higher. Like I don't know if I warmed up to it a bit more, but as of right now, it's at this part of the list. For number four is the Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 64. Now with this one, I do really enjoy. I think it's one of those Rainbow Roads that's quite flashy and stuff like that. So like, and I think that's mainly from Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe, because with a lot of tracks that get remade in or updated for newer games, you'll obviously see like stuff that's added on, or stuff that's graphically and gameplay wise. And what I like about Mario Kart, or the 64 Rainbow Road track, is that it's very flashy, and I do like how it uses the anti-grav ability in the game, which is quite cool, because I think there are some parts that do use the anti-gravity quite well in the road. And again, it's one of those tracks that's basically one big lap, but it's split into three equally distant laps. which is quite cool. And yeah, I think it's really fun. I do like how you've got like some chain chomps just bouncing on the road, that create some parts you can do tricks off of, which is quite cool. And I do like how the toads, or there's like a big train just flying through the sky, and you can just see the toads just float or throwing coins, which is quite cool. And I think that adds a whole lot of personality to the track because of just how it's done. And I do like how you can kind of see like the planet or the Earth below you, which is quite cool. And I think that adds a whole lot of charm to the game because it's. I think it's really cool when you do see other tracks, in the main one you're playing on. So, for example, in Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 64 in the 8 and 8 Deluxe game of Mario Kart, you can see like the planet behind or below you as you're just going through the track, which is really cool. And again, I do like how it's like this big sort of like cool track, and I do like the colors and everything that the road has. It kind of makes it have that sort of like royal sort of like theme to it in terms of like it's just this like grand track, and I think that's what it kind of reminds me of. For number three is Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Wii. Now with this track, I do like how it's like this basically just it's really cool because it's you've got like some parts you can do tricks off of. Like I think that there are these like ramps you can do, and I think you can also go through the middle, similar to the original Rainbow Road. You can if you've got a dash mushroom or just a regular mushroom, you can just dash off through the middle part and just do some tricks and stuff like that. And I do like how it has a sort of like Mario Galaxy theme feel to it because at the start of the track you'll get to see like some star bits on both sides, and then towards the end you'll go through this sort of like tunnel thing you can do tricks off from, and you can see like some launch stars or a launch star based pattern. That's quite cool, and yeah, it's a really fun track, and I think it definitely fits the whole like space Rainbow Road sort of aesthetic because pretty much I think nearly every single Rainbow Road takes place in space or almost in space because it's a massive track in the sky. So that's really cool. And yeah, as I said before, it feels like a Mario Galaxy themed track, and which we did get in Mario Galaxy 2 an emission, but as a whole, it's really really fun. For number two is the Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe. Now with this one, it uniquely feels different from the other Rainbow Roads because the entirety of Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe takes place on this sort of like space station. Well, a part of it is a space station, but you do get an actual Rainbow Road. But it does feel like it does feel man-made in a weird sort of way because it takes entirely in a sort of like space station type of thing, and the road itself feels like a part of that space station. And I do like how you can like go onto like the Rainbow Road itself, and then go onto a part of the space station that has two turning parts to it. Like you've got one going forwards, the other one going backwards, and that can change every so often. And similar to the speed boosts towards the end, they can switch. And then you've got the halfway point, which has you going into two different paths, which is quite cool. And there's a really cool shortcut you can do on, I think, both of them or one of them. I'll try and do it in the gameplay that I'm showing you now, but I think Rainbow Road or the one from 8 and 8 Deluxe is really cool in terms of just how much stuff you can try and do when it comes to like trick jumps or stuff like that, or use the environment around you to try and hit other characters and stuff like that. And as a whole, it's a really cool design, and I do like the whole like space station aesthetic to it. I think what makes Rainbow Road, or the variety of Rainbow Roads from the series, is how uniquely different they can be, and how they are all different from each other. Even though they are still Rainbow Road, even if they are different from each other, you can still see that they are Rainbow Road. They are the same track, but different. So yeah, and I do really like how it's used as a track. So yeah. And for number 1 is Rainbow Road from Mario Kart World. Now with this track, it's probably my favourite track out of all the tracks that we've seen, like in Mario Kart 8, say Deluxe, and the one we have in Mario Kart World, because I think for the longest time, the one from 8 and 8 Deluxe was probably my favourite. But now that World's out and I've gotten to play it on Rainbow Road in that part of the game, I think Mario Kart World's Rainbow Road is probably my favourite, mainly because it references so much of the other Rainbow Roads, or a lot of the other ones from the series. So, like, you've got the big laps, like in Mario Kart, or like the ones in 7 and 64. You do get right on some planet type of stuff, and you've got the toads on the train, as well as, like, it also has some of the other characters or obstacles from the other tracks. That's quite cool. You've got the thwomps. That's really cool. I also do like how it's part of it, or you get to go on a satellite space station section, which is really, really cool. And it's basically this giant, big lap track that kind of like finishes off the game as a whole. And I do like, though, how the way you unlock Rainbow Road, in that you have to be first place, I believe, in every other track or every other cup in the game to unlock Rainbow Road, which I think is really cool, because Rainbow Road is the final cup or the final track, or part of the last cup in every Mario Kart game, and it should feel like an event, like when you do get to that bit of the game. And the one in Kart World, Mario Kart World, feels like an event when you do get to that part of the game. And I do like how you start off, I believe, in Peach's Stadium, and then you drive across the sea, and then just go up into the sky, and then go into Rainbow Road. I think that's really, really cool. And as a whole, it's really, really fun. It's probably the best track, or the best Rainbow Road track we've gotten in a long time, or probably since Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe, because that was the most recent one. And yeah, I think it's really, really fun. I think it's going to be hard to top this one when it comes to a future game 10 years from now or something like that. So yeah. So that's been me ranking the Rainbow Roads for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Kart World from worst to best. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.